What's good, folks? My name is Tyler, and I am one of the members of the TriGents. And if you watched our opening video, we said we were going to have a lot of segments, and this is going to be one of them. So today, I'm going to do a really quick patch rundown for the new League of Legends patch. Patch 5.6 was announced about 20 hours ago at the time of doing this, and I had a chance to go and look through it all. And I think I can give some good information about what's going on here and what direction Riot's looking to go. But yeah, I'm gonna hope to do one of these after every patch, and yeah, this is gonna be the first one. So here we go. So with the meta right now, Riot likes the fact that there's tank junglers, and Riot wants to have tank junglers there, but they want more diversity in the jungle, and they want more diversity in the mid lane as well. That was kind of the focus of this patch. They actually buffed they buffed a lot of random champions who haven't seen play in a while. Um, which is a good thing because a lot of the champions they buffed are champions that I like to play, and they're champions that are pretty terrible. So Aatrox got a buff here. Um, Basically, when he pops his ultimate, he gets 20% of the maximum blood well for each hit, which is really good because now he's gonna charge up his blood well a lot faster than before. That's basically the point of this change. Um, Yeah, no, that's basically it. He's gonna charge it up really fast, and that's actually really nice for Aatrox. I don't know if he'll come back. He could be a jungler. His jungle's not bad. He's got pretty decent sustain once he gets going. His top lane's kind of okay, but I don't know. We'll see. So next would be Amumu. Amumu got a bug fix. Just didn't really affect too much because if you're out of mana, you're going back to base anyway. But it's still a bug fix. It's something. Basically his W or despair, if you're out of mana, it wouldn't go off, so you would just never get mana back regardless. Um, but I believe that could take effect if you had blue buff as well. I never actually encountered the bug myself, but nonetheless, just a bug fix. Annie is pretty ridiculous as a support right now, and she's even seeing play in the mid and top lane, primarily top lane in China, and I think a little bit of Korea as well, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Basically, this is putting down Annie's early game power a little bit. So her at level 6 and 11, her ultimate's gonna be it won't do as much damage when Tibbers is charging at you, but at level 16 it'll do more than it was before. So it'll scale better into late game, but in the early game it won't be quite as brutal as it is right now. Because right now if Tibbers is on you, you're gonna probably end up dying. It makes it hard for growth in the bot lane for other supports. It forces you onto like tanks or yeah, tanks. Bard was interesting on release. I don't know. I was trying Win the Jungle. I haven't played him as a support, but he was kind of clunky to play. To be honest, he was a little bit clunky. He didn't do a lot of damage, and he overall for a player, he didn't feel really rewarding, even though he was hilarious. Um, so basically, what they did, they upped the Q damage, which I want to test in the jungle, but it also gives him better lane harass, which is good. Because right now he's kind of useless in lane. He's literally just a support. Like Soraka will do more damage to him, or well, Soraka does more damage, honestly. And they removed that cosmic binding before you were able to Q, and it would hit things like Jarvan's flag or Jace's gate or even a ward. It won't do that anymore, which is whatever. I mean that rarely does that happen anyway, but some players were able to take advantage of that, which I mean, good for them. Magical Journey, his E, which is the big portal. The cooldown went down, which is that's really good because 26 seconds at level 1 is ridiculous. Honestly, like as a support, that's like I don't know. I don't know. To me, that just feels ridiculously long. Like how many non-ultimate abilities have a 30-second cooldown? I mean, honestly. It was also super hard to click. Um, they basically changed it so that it's easier to click now, which is good because before you had to click it in like the exact right spot or you weren't going to go anywhere. But now it's actually like not that bad. And then it also gives you an assist now, his magical journey, which is also good. I'd like to see given assist if you use your ultimate on a tower, because then it'll stasis the tower and stop from hitting. Because as of now, it doesn't do that. But that's okay. This is a step in the right direction anyway, for sure. And okay, clones can That's just like a juke thing. Clones can go into the portal. Having Tempered Fate, his ultimate, having it so neutral monsters won't reset. Basically, what that means is people would use it to ult, say, the Dragon Pit where everybody was fighting, and the dragon would get ulted as well, but its health would regenerate while it's in there, which kind of screws things up. So they fix, and it also doesn't make sense. So they fixed that, and now it will just actually remain stasis. All right, so Cassiopeia, she the way Cassiopeia works is that she gets a lot of AP multiplicatively. Um, and when she has things like her new passive plus the dragon buff plus masteries, and if you get a death cap, I know it's not always a build on Cassiopeia to get death cap. Um, yeah, now it's instead of multiplicatively, it's additively, which is it's better because it gives her a lot less ability power as the game goes on. That's basically what it is. Uh, she's still good. She's still good, but once you get to like the 45-minute mark, I mean, she's not going to be quite as strong as she was. Because right now she is pretty good. She doesn't see a lot of play because she's actually kind of hard. But anyway, moving on. Elise. Elise was one of my old favorite champions, but she sucks right now. So they took some movement speed out of human form and put it into spider form, which is fine. You're gonna be when you're moving around the map, you're mostly in spider form anyway, so that's really good. You're only in human form when you gank because you want to unload your combo, like stun them, QW, and then you're gonna go back to spider form anyway. Uh, Nice quality of life change for repel. Makes it easier for players to just drop down because right now you have to be really quick with the E and you have to press it twice while hovering a certain enemy. But now you can just not only can you still do that, but now you can just right click on a target and it'll go target them. So that's really nice. And Cocoon missile speed, that's her stun. Battle goes up. So right now it's slow as balls and it's hard to hit, but this makes it a little bit easier. These are quality of life changes to Elise. In reality, it's probably nothing, and I don't think she's going to be back in the meta. But it's a start. It's better than nothing. All right, so Evelyn. Evelyn's really interesting. 'Cause she's a stealth champion, so Riot doesn't want to make her super powerful because if a stealth champion is really strong in solo queue, it just kind of wrecks the game. In all honesty, but they're making some changes. They're making her passive. So her passive is how she goes invisible. So basically, if you're not in combat for 6 seconds, you will go invisible. They're scaling that with levels now, so it'll go down to 3 seconds at level 16, which is actually that's a really nice change. I really like that. It's like it scales at levels 1, 6, 11, and 16, which is that's really good. As you get into late game, you can farm faster and just go invis, which is nice you can because when you go invisible, not only does it help ganking and stuff, but in late game that doesn't really matter. But after a fight, it'll help with like mana regen, so you can go back to pushing, and you don't have to go back to base or whatever. Um, Whenever you hit now with her W, if you so you on a Evelyn, you're always spamming your Q. That's gonna lower her W's cooldown by 1 second each time you do that, which is also really nice. So these are two actually nice Evelyn buffs. She's already starting to come back a little bit, but uh, this might bring her back a little bit more. Galio, his cooldown is now it scales downwards as the game goes on. It's 1 second higher at level 1, but it goes down as you rank it up. It won't really do anything for him as of now. He's still not very good, but that's okay. Hopefully he comes back at some point. Uh, Irelia's first nerf in 3 years. Better nerf Irelia. Um, her E damage went down, which is good because having her E damage so high, players would max E in a losing matchup or in 2v1 situations, and their E was like a get out of jail free card. Like they wouldn't have to do anything. They could just stun or farm with their E. So it was kind of stupid. So this is a step in the right direction. Irelia is kind of she's suffocating to play against in a 1v1, especially if she gets ahead. Because once she gets her Triforce, that's really all she needs, and she's suddenly a god. Because then she'll just build tank and still do a ton of damage, which is dumb. Um, yeah, Nerfing the equilibrium strike is where I would have targeted as well to start. So this is good. This is good. This will affect her, especially in her 2v1s. In the long run, though, she'll still be an okay champion. This is an interesting change to Katarina. She doesn't see a lot of play in competitive play, but in solo queue, she's played a lot. In fact, she's often banned. So what they did is that they made her base health and health regen go way down, but they increased her health per level. And this is pretty huge because really her base stats were high enough as a melee, and especially as a snowbally assassin, that you could just sit in lane and survive, and you would come off better late game anyway, because once you get 3 items, you'll just kill anyone on the map. This makes her lane phase pretty punishing. So like, she can easily get 1v1'd out and get poked out now. Which is correct. That's how melees are supposed to be in the mid lane, unless you're Galio, but no one plays Galio. I mean, that hurts Cat a lot. She still does a ton of damage, but her laning's a lot harder. So it'll take more skill to play her now, which is good. Which is good. That's what it's needed. Okay, they just improved Kai'Sa's auto attack animation. No one really farms with it anyway. People only farm with Q, but that's fine. For LeBlanc, they nerfed the AP ratio on all 3 of her ultimate abilities, her mimic, which is fine. LeBlanc's a champion. She's a really strong mage at the moment. She does a butt ton of damage. She has a ton of mobility. She's got CC. She's got basically all you want. But I don't think she's overpowered. So I think toning back the AP on her ultimate a little bit is fine because it won't completely destroy her, and it still keeps her relevant. So I think that's a fine change. Riot will probably monitor that and see how that goes. Lux ultimate bug fix. Basically, her passive didn't always trigger her ultimate, so they fixed that. Or her ultimate didn't always trigger her passive. Basically, Nidalee's stupid in the jungle, but they don't want to nerf her right now because of the meta changes to tanks, which will overall hurt Nidalee. So they want to see how the tank meta will play out, and if Nidalee's automatically hurt through that, like an indirect nerf, then they'll just leave Nidalee, I'll bet. Because overall, she's kind of annoying to play against, but really, I mean, she's not overpowered. Nocturne got a nice buff, 30 seconds off his ultimate at level 1. That's pretty huge because really 3-minute cooldown in the early game. I mean, like, you're basically not useful for 3 minutes, and you're not that useful till 6 anyway. So Nocturne doesn't make a lot of impact in the game, and the old logic was, why pick Nocturne when you have Rengar? Quinn, okay, in my opinion, Quinn's already a pretty strong champion, but she's just got like, basically her range is preventing her from being played in the bot lane, but I think she's pretty good in the top lane and could even see play in the mid lane. Basically, they did like a ton of fixes on her E. There's a lot of bugs and issues with it. The biggest thing here is that it'll reset her auto attack timer, which is pretty big because now it's an auto attack reset on Quinn, so she can output a lot more damage. But other than that, yeah, just some quality of life things on E, which is really nice for her. I could actually see her getting played. Rammus, cooldown went down on his Q, or sorry, not his cooldown. Mana went down on his Q, which is nice because your Q and your W is how you kill your camps and it's how you gank. I mean, like if you gank, you'll run out of mana in one combo, so this is nice. I think Rammus was already good anyway because of the changes to the new item, Cinder Hulk. But this is nice for him. He could come back. I could see it. Rise, garbage champion since he got inverted like 6 months ago. Maybe it was like 7 months ago now. They're putting a little bit damage back into his Q, but they want to be careful because Rise is pretty strong when he's in the game. Yeah, this won't change anything. Like he still won't be a good champion after this. I mean, he'll do more damage. He can farm easier, but this won't help him for now. They're gonna have to do a little bit more, but not much more. Sejuani's currently the best jungler in the game, maybe even the best champion in the game after the new patches. So they're taking some damage out of her W, and which is good because right now she does too much damage to camps and clears them too quickly, but she also does too much damage to champions. Because when she's 6 or even like pre-6, like level 3, when she has double buffs coming out of the jungle, she can nuke the carries. She'll Q them and W them and E them, and they're basically dead. So they want to take some power out of Sejuani and make her a bit more punishing. And that's what they did with her ultimate here. Basically, if you miss her ult, before it was a 90% slow, which is pretty huge. That's almost, well, that's almost like Threshbox, 99%, but now it's 30%, so really you have to hit it for it to be effective, so you can't just AoE the whole team and they're all screwed. Singed, they upped the damage on his fling by making it do percentage of the target's health, which is good. Um, I don't know what the AP ratio was before. That might be no, it was the same ratio before. It does less base damage, but it'll do percentage of health. So as the game goes on, it'll do a lot more damage, which is good. I don't like Singe myself, but Scion, after the changes to Cinderhulk in the jungle, Scion ended up becoming a pretty good jungler, but they want him to be a top laner. They don't want him in the jungle. So these changes essentially make his jungle a lot weaker. So maybe he won't get picked in the jungle anymore. Maybe he will. But overall, he's a good top laner, not a great jungler. Twitch, they made the damage on his passive go up. His passive is the poison that stacks on you, and it can get up to 6 stacks, I believe. Yes, 6 stacks of true damage that tick away per second. Um, this is good for Twitch. I think he was already coming back because of the current trend toward support top laners and having a hyper carry. I know like Korea's done it a lot, and so has China with they call it the Juggermaw comp with Kog'Maw. Um, this will help Twitch. He's already starting to see a little bit of play again, so we'll see if this can help his early game especially. Vigar, they kind of destroyed Vigar in patch 5.2 because they changed his stun and they changed a lot of other things. But this helps him a little bit more. Um, they gave his passive a little bit more mana regen, a little bit more range on his Q, which if you don't remember, it now passes through units, so it can strike 2. It can strike up to 2 units now, and now it can just do that farther. It makes his farming a lot better. And this was weird with Event Horizon. Basically, let's just say I'm playing Lee Sin, and I hit you with a Q, but you put down your E. I could dash through it, because for some reason the interaction, I wouldn't get stunned. I would just go right through and hit you. That doesn't happen anymore. So if you try to like dash through or something, you're gonna get stopped. I'm not sure if that'll work with Flash. Like if you try to flash out of it, I don't know if that'll work, but that'd be hilarious if it did. Vel'Koz, quality of life change. You can take Thresh Lantern while he's ulting. Nothing really huge, but you know. Yorick gets some extra range on his Q, so it's more like a crit. That's pretty nice for farming and trading overall in top lane. I love Yorick, even though no one else likes him. But nice quality of life change for Yorick as well. I hate Ziggs. The way the game's trending right now, um, especially with the mana regen items, Ziggs kind of slipped out of the meta because he has high mana costs and he wasn't able to keep up with Morello's and a lot of the other mid laners because he just gets destroyed. But now the cost as you level up his Q, which is his main wave clear, his mana cost is way down, which is pretty big for Ziggs. Um, this could make him come back as a perennial wave clear mid laner because currently that's held by Xerath. Um, that's a pretty big change. Especially because, yeah, Riot even said right here, they made their mana regen weaker at the start of the season. So this is pretty nice because Ziggs was in a pretty bad spot before. It was to the point where he couldn't get picked. He was outclassed in every way. But this is nice. This is a nice change for him. After Zillion's update, he kind of sucked. So they're updating his health, putting more damage into his Q, and they're lowering the mana, which is good. Don't know if he'll be a mid laner. He could be a mid laner, but well, I don't actually know if his support's very good. I'd like to see him in the mid lane, just with the damage changes, his rewind cooldown. Ooh, actually, these are nice changes. Basically, all of his mana costs have gone down, and the cooldowns on Q and W are down, which is really nice for Zillion. Actually, this is interesting. I'd like to see if he comes back within the next few weeks to see if people start playing him. Um, Alright, these champions and skins just had they had some texture rebalances, nothing big to see here. Items, Chalice of Harmony, costs went down, and the explanations with Athenes. Um, Basically, Morello's is the default mana regen item for AP mid laners or even top laners. So what they want to do is they want to bring Athenes back, but the problem with Athenes is that it's perfect for passive laners because it gives you defenses and it gives you mana regen. So it's like and it gives you CDR. So it's super it's just really passive. But what they've done is they've put the mana regen up to 100% and the mana regen on a killer assist to 30%, which is that's really interesting because that'll really help these passive abilities. Like that is actually a huge buff to Ziggs again as well, and Xerath as well, because it's all these passive laners that are just there to farm it out until they can hit like Athene's Deathcap Voidstaff or Athene's Deathcap Zanya, something like that. Um, this is really interesting. I could see this changing the meta because it'll bring different champions back into the game. Like it might. We had a meta about a few months ago, like 4 or 5 months ago, where basically it was just wave clear all day, and it was really annoying. But I could see that coming back. Um, Bug fix with Righteous Glory, where you wouldn't get movement speed when you're running towards turrets or whatever. This is pretty big. Apparently it was not supposed to be there, but the Risk Scuttler, its vision is like a third of what it used to be, which is that's massive. Um, Before it was like if you had a Risk Scuttler, it would go into you'd be able to see Dragon and Baron, but now it won't do that. I mean, you still you can't skirt around the edges of it, so if you pass by it, you'll still get seen, but you can't see Dragon or Baron, which that's the big thing here. Because before it'd be hard for teams to go in and get vision control of Dragon and Baron if the other team was already in there. But if they had the risk alert, it didn't matter because you could just see everything in that area. Not anymore. Now it's the only area that'll cover is the area where you get the speed boost. That is all you'll be able to see. So that's going to be a huge change, especially in competitive play. I don't know if there'll be less of a priority anymore on the risk scuttler. There could be, because right now the current route for a jungler is they'll start at golems or gromp or whatever, or krugs or gromp. They'll move into their red buff or their blue buff, and then they'll do one more camp, hit level 3. Maybe they might get double buffs, they might back, but then they're gonna look for the scuttler. They're not gonna farm the rest of their jungle because the scuttler right now is so huge for the vision control, especially in the river in the early game. Like the jungler will be like nullified on one half of the map. So pretty big change right here. So that's interesting. Um, Base gates. Okay, basically you can place like Heimer turrets or whatever sitting in the base gates, whatever. I don't know if that'll affect with pathing. It might. I don't know. It won't really matter actually. Enemies can't go through base gates or whatever. Um, Higher jungle XP as the game goes on, which is really nice because what happens right now, the jungler, there comes a point where they don't get to farm their own camps very much, and they won't be able to keep up as the game goes on. But this makes it so that when they do go farm their camps, they're gonna end up getting more XP, which is really nice. So that's about it for that. New music for Summoner's Rift. It's out of beta technically. Oh, I didn't think this was intentional, but apparently it was. Victory and defeat. It looked like sometimes that you might have lost the game or whatever, but whatever. It's not a big deal. It's out of the game. I'm not really gonna touch on Twisted Tree Line and Crystal Scar stuff. In all honesty, I don't really know a lot of the information about those two maps. I mostly know about Summoner's Rift and ranked play. But yeah, that's about the end of this patch notes. If you have any questions about it, throw them down in the comment section. I'll go in and try to answer them. But yeah, this is the first League of Legends patch rundown done by the TriGents, or me anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed. So remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.